I'm now going to deal with the topic of how to receive the new DTT, the Digital Terrestrial Television Service here in Ireland. It's been broadcasting in test mode since the summer of 2009 and it's officially now going to launch on the 1st of October 2010. Okay, initially there's going to be 5 channels available on it, which is the 4 traditional channels, RT1 and 2, TV3, TG4, and also the RT and News channel. But there's also other test transmissions being done. On top of that then, there's plans for about 10 or 12 radio stations to be available on it. The ones that are currently broadcasting are simply again the RTE radio stations, RT1 and 2, Lyric FM and TG4. So if you want to receive these new transmissions, you have 3 basic choices. You can come along and you can select something like this, which is an Mpeg-4 DTT box from Triax, a TR110. You simply connect it to a UHF aerial like this, run it in and connect it into an existing television, and you tune the new channels into this box, and it displays it via SCART or an RF lead on your traditional television. A step up from there, and somewhat better, would be a combo box like this. Once again, this is an Mpeg-4 HD ready box. There's twin feeds on it. You can take in a satellite feed and a DTT feed, so you have the Irish and the satellite channels on a single box, which can be quite advantageous and handy. And then the next on top of this, final alternative to this would be, and this is really only people who are purchasing new televisions, is to buy an Mpeg-4 television, which means you can dispense with this box here and you can run it directly from a UHF aerial, and possibly if you have a UHF VHF aerial already in your attic or on the roof, it may work directly. So the initial thing would be, we'll bring up a tuning menu on your television when you plug in the television for the first time, and it'll automatically tune in the channels that are there, the DTT channels that are available. So I'm going to simulate this by simply pressing the menu button here. I'm bringing you into the install menu, the setup, and it'll ask me auto tuning. I select OK, and yes, this will wipe any channels that I've pre-programmed in this television. Okay, alright. It'll work its way through, and it's going to work its way through 3 basic menus: the DTTV, which is the digital channels, the radio channels and the TV channels, and that'll be analog. So the first 2 are in digital, the next one is in analog. So you can see currently it's at 5% and it's working its way through the VHF and the UHF spectrum. It's picked up 0 DTV channels, 0 radio channels and 0 here, but as you work through, it'll, because of the strength of the signal with the DTT, it's quite possible that it'll pick up from a number of different transmitters, and each one will actually be programmed into the television. What will happen then is the television will automatically delete channels that it'll delete the weakest signal, leave the most powerful one. So what we're going to do at this stage, we're actually going to just pause the filming at this point. And we will resume in a number of minutes when the television has fully tuned in. Probably takes about 5 to 6 minutes for all the channels to tune in here. That's taken a total of about 6 or 7 minutes, and all of the television has been fully pre-tuned at this stage. So I simply hit the exit button on the television here, exit out here, and we're left with a beautiful DTT picture here. So just give you a quick overview of what channels are available now. If I hit the list button here, it'll come up here, and we can see the first 6 channels are DTT channels, and they're marked with a D in front of it. Okay. After that, then that's in buttons 1 to 6. After that, then on buttons 201, 202, 3, and 4, we have the radio stations, and also then if we arrow down further, we're left with a program list, which is simply a list of the Irish channels that we're fed in via analog. So we hit selection here. We can see, anyway, this can work as an analog television with a reasonable picture, but not nearly as good as the DTT one. So the flick between radio, analog and DTV, we simply use this TV radio button here. So you can see here now, I can hit this, I go over to the DT button. Next I'll flick and I can see we're on a radio station here. I actually have the volume turned down. We turn the volume up here, we can hear Joe Duffy. Okay, so that's a good reason to turn the volume back down. And now we'll come along and we'll hit this button again, we're into the analog, and then back to the DTT. Okay, so as I'm moving through anyway, I can hit the text button here, and what we'll see is available here now. You can see it's actually on the side of the screen here, it's loading, so you can pull up the test functions. So once again, very, very good text available on it, and you can just walk through the menu system as you would in an ordinary teletext. I find it actually slightly quicker than teletext would be. So simply hit the exit button to get out of there again. If we come along now and we wanted to look at a particular program or wonder what this program is, we can simply hit the information button here and tell you the name of the program, the when it's started, when it's going to end. If we arrow forward, it'll bring me forward one channel and it'll tell me what the next program is. And if I arrow forward again, it won't bring me further, because that's the way the information button is. It just gives you exact information for this channel and the next program, nothing else. Now if we're looking for a more detailed overview of what's now and coming up, we can use the guide button on our remote control here. So we come along and we can see here that we have 6 channels listed on the screen. We can see the date, the time, and I can arrow forward, and as I do, I can see it from all the various channels and it moves through. Now, not alone that, I can hit the green button here, which corresponds to date, bring myself up, move from Friday the 7th up to Sunday, we'll say the 9th. Now there's full 7-day EPG in it, and if I'm satisfied with that, I simply hit OK, and it flicks the EPG 2 days forward. So that's a very thing. You can see it doesn't necessarily work with all channels, but it certainly works with most of them. And in fact, I would say the EPG and the DTT channels seems to be a lot more effective than it is on the general free-to-air boxes that I've seen over a period of time. So just exit out of that, and that gives a fairly comprehensive overview. And you can see straight away why people, what the advantages that come with the Mpeg-4 televisions like this. Now, one limitation of this is that this, of course, will only be able to handle free DTT transmissions. If, we'll say, a subscription DTT ever gets off the ground in Ireland, we still will need a box with a card slot on to be able to go with it. But hopefully that's given you a good overview how an Mpeg-4 television, which unfortunately we don't sell on the tvtrade.ie website, can give an alternative to the combi or the straightforward DTT boxes. But once again, it's only really an option for people if you're buying a new television, because a television like this could cost you a couple of €100, but of course a DTT box by itself would be a fraction of that cost.